How's it going, folks? In this video, I'm going to give you a Florida housing market update for February 2025. And I want to give you all the data on Florida's housing market in this video, city by city, so you can understand how home prices are trending and actually how much they're going down in your city. This is the big thing we're seeing in Florida right now are home price declines. Prices are down 1% year over year at a statewide level, but we have some pretty substantial drops now occurring in certain metros. In Sarasota, values are down 5.3% year over year. In Punta Gorda, they're down 7.5%. In Cape Coral, they're down 5.6%. In Naples, they're down 3.6%. And you can see here in almost every metro in Florida, we're seeing blue, which means declining prices. These declining prices are good news for you as a home buyer or an investor because it means that you're going to have more affordability on the market in 2025. And I think this affordability will continue to get better as the year goes on because the inventory metrics and the supply metrics in Florida's housing market are just getting even more favorable for you month by month and week by week. Currently, there's 153,000 homes for sale on the Florida housing market. You can see that's the highest level of supply in at least 7 to 8 years. It's actually the highest level of supply going back to the end of the last housing crash in 2011, 2012. Meanwhile, the days on market for houses, how long a house that's listed is sitting for sale, has jumped all the way to 79 days. Also the highest that we've seen in the last 7 to 8 years. And so when you see higher inventory and higher DOM at the highest level in a decade, that's the clue to you as a buyer that things have shifted in your favor and that time now is on your side and that you're going to be experiencing more favorable buying conditions. Of course, the one problem still in Florida's housing market is that while the conditions have shifted more favorable for buyers, prices are still really expensive compared to the long-term norms. The values in Florida, they went up so much during the pandemic that, a 3% decline, a 5% decline in value, it doesn't really seem like a whole lot to the average buyer. As you can see here on Reventure app, we're looking at a data point called the home value growth over the last 5 years. And if you guys ever go on Reventure app and have a question about these data points, you can click any of these icons to read description and see a video on what the data point is. Here we're looking at the 5-year growth and take a look at Florida here. Prices in Florida are still up 59% over the last 5 years. In December 2019, the value was $244,000. In December 2024, the value is $387,000. So massive price growth since the pandemic. You can see Florida still ranks number 8 in America for price growth in that span. Interestingly, New Hampshire is now number 1, along with Maine and Montana. Those 3 states are now firmly in the top of the heap in terms of 5-year price growth. Florida continues to drop on this list and will continue to drop on this list this year. However, for now, it's still going to feel expensive. And one thing I'm noticing down here in Florida is the fact that a lot of locals are now starting, slowly but surely, to wake up to the fact that the housing market here is in a downturn. When I moved to Florida 6 months ago, no one knew that the housing market here was in a downturn. 6 months later, I feel like maybe 1 out of every 2 people I meet and talk to about home prices is acknowledging that there's a slowdown and a correction. So that's progress in terms of the overall market understanding. And I think one reason why is because realtors are starting to wake up to this scenario as well. I just looked at a report from the Florida Association of Realtors, everyone, and it shows some crazy statistics going on in Florida's housing market right now. So on the Florida Association of Realtors website, they release these market reports, and we're going to start with the condo report. The condo report for 2024, we could see condo sales were down 10% year over year. The median list price was down 1%, but check this out. The months of supply of inventory for condos jumped from 5.1 months last year to 8.2 months of supply this year. That's a 61% increase. And it's the highest months of supply for condos that we've seen in a really, really long time. This data only goes back to 2019, but in 2019, it was 5 months of supply. Now it's 8 months of supply, indicating heavy downward price pressure. Conversely, in 2021, at the peak of the pandemic craziness, there was only 1.3 months of supply for condos. Now there's 8.2. That's got to make you nervous buying a condo in Florida's market. Like, the prices for condos have started to drop, but there's so much supply now on the market that they're going to drop more in the future. Single family homes also experienced a decline in sales year over year, and the months of supply went up from 3.6 to 4.7 months. So there isn't as much supply of single family homes. As condos, however, this was still a pretty big jump. Again, it's the highest level going back a long time. In 2019, there was 3.3 months of supply for single family homes. Now there's 4.7. Compare that to 2021 when there was only 1 month of supply. So again, single family homes, we're seeing huge increases in inventory. We're seeing lagging sales volume, suggesting prices should continue to drop in 2025. And again, that report came from the Florida Realtors Association, everyone. So even the realtors, they're starting to have to acknowledge what's going on in the market. They might not tell you to your face that the market's correcting, but if a realtor in Florida tries to FOMO you into buying now, tell them about the Florida Association of Realtor Statistics and ask them what the months of supply is on the market. If they're honest, they're going to tell you that it's pretty high. Now let's do something fun, everyone. I want to do a little rapid fire round here and just like run through some listings in different parts of Florida right now and see what we find, just kind of randomly. Let's just pull up some listings and see what we find. We're in Palm Bay right now on the eastern coast. Okay, we got a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,400 square feet, 294,000. That seems a little expensive, everyone. On the market 6 days, 47 safes, brand new roof in 2025, everyone. Brand new roof. What this person did is really interesting. I see this happen a lot still. They pulled the listing in December at 284,000, relisted it in January at 3.5% higher. So this person, they've been trying to sell this house and rent this house actually for the last 6 to 7 months. They've seemingly been unsuccessful at doing either, and they're continuing to play games with the price, not really dropping the price substantially. You can see the Zestimate value has gone down, but this owner is still probably deluded in what they think they can get for this house. Meanwhile, let's look at Tampa. One of my favorite areas of Tampa, everyone, is Hyde Park. I go there about once a week. They got some more expensive homes in Hyde Park. This is like the Beverly Hills of Tampa. We see we got a 4-bed, 4-bath, 2,600 square feet, 2.2 million. Been on the market 46 days, 211 saves. Wow. This house sold for 1.2 million in 2021. They're listing it at 79% more 3 years later in 2024. This better have been a flip. Was it a flip? Let's search renovated. Wow, it was renovated in 2020, everyone. So this owner is trying to make 79% while doing no renovations themselves on this listing, getting $846 a foot. That's insane. Zillow isn't even giving you an estimate of how much the monthly payment is, but it's going to be so expensive. So clearly, many sellers in Florida's housing market are still deluded, even though broader knowledge of the housing downturn is starting to take hold. A lot of sellers are really emotionally attached to their house and have a hard time accepting that it's not worth what they thought it was. And I think many of these sellers this year are going to be in for a rude awakening because prices are already dropping, everyone. This is already happening. So if you're a seller, who's ignoring these facts and who's trying to list your home for way above market, or you talk to your realtor and your realtor says it's worth this and you want to list for 20% higher, it's not going to go so well for you. Your house is going to sit on the market for a really long time and you're probably going to have to end up cutting the price by more in the future. So one thing I would impress upon sellers is understand the price direction and price trends in your market. And on Reventure app, we have a great way to do that. We have a metric called the home price forecast score out of 100, which helps tell you how prices are trending and how they could trend in the future. The lower the score, the greater the likelihood that prices drop. So for instance, if your zip code's a 27 out of 100, like this one in Pinellas County, that's indicating heavy downward price pressure. It's indicating prices are dropping and that you as a seller should not be overpricing your house at all. If anything, you should be underpricing your house. Comparatively, there are 1 or 2 zip codes in Tampa that are more stable, where we see a 50. There's also some zip codes in Miami that are more stable, where we see scores above 50, which indicates stable or upward prices. So make sure to go to www.reventure.app and research the trends in your market based on the home price forecast score. This is a premium data point. It can be invaluable for you as a seller or buyer or a realtor actually in 2025 and better understanding the trends in your market. But now let's take a look at a couple more listings so we can see what sellers right now are doing in Florida's market as we enter February. So this one caught my eye here in Tampa, actually. It's a house for sale. Oh boy, this one's maybe a tough one. They just did a $100,000 price cut. Opportunity is now, owner is motivated. Take advantage of the $140,000 discount, 3 saves in 100 days. So what is going on here? You can see this house has not been renovated in a very long time. They really probably could have done a better job with these pictures. And this is a case where the seller just listed it for way too expensive to begin with. They listed it for $620,000 in October, and now they've cut it to $480,000. But you could see like this value estimate is still way above where it should be, so they'll probably have to cut the price more. Now let's head on over to Miami, everyone, because Miami is a crazy, crazy place. And where I want to focus you actually is an area of Miami called Wynwood. is this is where a lot of investors are. Look at how many listings there are here in this neighborhood north of Wynwood in Miami. This is wild, folks, how much inventory there is on the market. And this is an interesting one. It's a 2x1 house, 1,000 square feet. But you can see they're not even advertising the house. They're advertising the parcel of land. Discover the perfect investment opportunity in Wynwood, prime development opportunity, single family with multi-unit potential. Been on the market 75 days, 4 safes. Another case where they just jacked up the price way too high and they're now having to cut. But what I think is really interesting in this zip code, 33127, Reventure app ranks this as a 40 out of 100, indicating downward pressure on prices. What's interesting in this zip code is that home values are still up 7.7% over the last year. Inventory of homes for sale has climbed all the way to 122 homes. Days on the market spiking all the way to 93 days on the market this year. So I think with this spike in DOM, 2025 is probably going to be the year where the prices finally start to go down here. But this is a good indication of how sometimes bubbles and an overvalued market can last for longer than you would expect it to last. Even when the technical indicators shift in your favor as a buyer and against sellers, sellers still have a hard time understanding that and believing it. And it just takes time sometimes for these sellers in the market in Florida or many other states to get with reality and to start dropping the prices commensurate to where the demand levels are. And we need to talk about the demand in Florida's housing market. This is the other point that is important to really wrap your head around in 2025, is that the demand is way down. The demand to buy homes and condos in Florida has plummeted over the last 2 years, and it has not recovered. So on this graph, we're looking at the weekly home sale transactions in Florida, according to data I pulled from Redfin. And you can see in the middle of January, there was 6,000 adjusted weekly sales in Florida, which was about the same as it was the previous 2 years in mid-January. But you could see it was down about 35% from mid-January in 2021 and 2020. And it was down about 15 to 20% from mid-January prior to the pandemic. So what this graph is telling you is the demand and the sales volume in Florida is still really low. It's not improving, even with the higher inventory and even with the initial price cuts we're seeing in the market, even with the initial drops in value, demand is still more or less in the tank. And that's because of a variety of factors. Number one, Florida is overvalued. It's gotten too expensive. So there's fewer people wanting to move in and buy a home. At the same time, more people are leaving the state because they're priced out. While at the same time, more people are just now hitting the pause button on buying in Florida due to climate and hurricane risk. And oh yeah, property insurance and HOA fees are skyrocketing, making the financial cost of ownership untenable. So I don't necessarily think we're going to see a massive increase in demand anytime soon in Florida. I think maybe in 2025, we'll see a moderate increase in demand. Maybe it'll be up 5% year over year as some buyers come back into the market, maybe up 7% year over year. But that increase in demand is not going to be enough to counteract the increase in listings and the high inventory, which is why I think prices are still going to continue to drop. I'm going to be doing these market updates for you guys once every 2 or 3 months here on the Reventure app data channel. This is my second YouTube channel where I post specific data-driven market deep dives. I go into a level of detail here on this channel that I don't really have the time to go into on the main Reventure consulting channel. So if you like this content, hit the subscribe button and also make sure to go to www.reventure.app and search your zip code in Florida and start looking and researching the housing market data. We have some data for free related to inventory and basic home value trends, but really what you're going to want to do is upgrade to a premium plan so you can get access to all our popular data: home price forecast, overvaluation rate, cap rate, population growth, price cut rate, 5-year growth trajectory. All of this will be hugely valuable and important for you as a buyer in Florida in 2025. So sign up for a premium plan. The cost is $39 a month. Well worth it to gain peace of mind about the data in your housing market.